Welcome to the Even Better podcast, where your host, Sinikka Waugh of Your Clear Next Step, brings you exciting content about making communities better by helping people get even better at work.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us on the Even Better podcast. This is Sinikka Waugh, and this is part of our continued mission to help people have better work days so that together we can co-create better communities. I am here today with my dear friend, Chef Terrie Kohl. Terrie, thank you so much for being here today.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Sinikka.
Oh, this is going to be so fun. So for those of you who don't know Chef Terrie Kohl, she is here in the greater Des Moines area and operates a business that I'll let her tell you more about. But I have known Terrie for many, many years, and I know that her scones melt in your mouth, that her genius and her creativity in the kitchen when she thinks up these new recipes is absolutely inspiring. I know that my favorite birthday cakes over the years have come from Terrie's kitchen, and my favorite frosted sugar cookies have come from Terrie's kitchen. And I know that she spends time together with people, teaching them how to cook and how to bring others around the table. Terrie, thank you so very much for being here. I'd love to have you introduce yourself just a little bit and maybe correct my story if I didn't get it quite right. What would you have others know about you, Terrie?
Oh, first of all, I would like to say that Miss Sinikka Waugh was my business coach, so she has led me to the glory, and I am so thrilled every day to be able to share my passion in whatever capacity, be it catering, classes, private chef. It's just wherever I get a captive audience and can serve. And my media is food.
And your media is food. And it was some pretty darn amazing food, Terrie. So we are here for those of you who are listening and wondering, okay, so why are we talking to a chef? Well, we're talking to a chef because she's amazing and she's a dear friend of mine. And we share a love of the Lord. And that's just so exciting to be able to have that time together. And this time to share the enthusiasm that she has on this podcast. And we're also talking to Chef Terrie because Chef Terrie, like the rest of us, has a work day, right? If you run your own business or if you are a chef, there are different things that you do, right? There is different work that you might do than perhaps someone who is processing insurance claims in a corporate setting, but it's still work and we still have work days. And you, Terrie, have found this wonderful way to bring together your work and your mission. And our audience members can't see you, but I can see you and I can see that you're smiling because I know that the way you bring together your work and your mission has brought you joy and it just sort of exudes from your pores. And that's why we're listening today. That's why we're here today. For those of you who are like, well, what does a chef have to do with my life? I will tell you that Chef Terrie is here to talk to us about 5 ways that living her mission at work and life has brought joy. So if you're sitting there right now, maybe you're listening to this and you have not had the most joy-filled last 18 months. Maybe it's been a tough season, or maybe the season's been okay, but today's been a tough day. Let me just encourage you with these words and this message that we're going to hear. Let me just invite you to pause and to really listen and to soak in to the words that you're going to hear from Chef Terrie Kohl today, because this lady, I tell you what, she has found joy. So, Terrie, we got 5 ways. Let's get at it. 5 ways that living your mission at work and life has brought joy. The first one, you say there's joy in serving others. Tell us about that. What does that mean, Terrie?
In serving others, with the way that Country Club Market is designed, is to fulfill their vision in whatever capacity. So it is fine-tuned to what their likes, dislikes, what their budget, how they want service. I customize and create exactly what their personal vision is. And ultimately, it's their dream come true. And so that's one of the reasons I went to culinary school, to be able to serve others in this capacity, as time doesn't always allow everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The service, I've watched you light up in circumstances where I know I've requested your services for women's retreats or for business dinners. And I know that I've watched you just get more and more excited and more enthusiastic as you think about the fact that I'm getting excited about you're being able to fulfill this dream that I simply can't do because I'm too busy or not in those ways gifted. So it's fun watching you do that. So I know that to you, I think I've heard you say that joy and service, they go hand in hand. They're almost synonymous to you, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah. That's for sure. That's the gift God's given me, the passion for food and to serve others.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, okay. So there's joy in serving others. That's the first way that you found that living your mission. And as you just alluded to, that's a gift that God has given you, right? He's given you a heart for service. And so as you've tapped into this living your mission and the mission of Country Club Market, remind us again, it has to do with bringing people together, right?
That's right. I think one of my mantras has been bringing friends and family back around the table. And with that, I recall my family being around the table and enjoying dinner and talking about your day. And this can be at home or work or through church. It's just a time set aside to meet others where they're at.
Yep.
And so this is any place. It's at work when you're around the table as well. It may not be food, it may be thought.
You bet. Okay, so there is a second piece of your mission that I know rings out in your website and in your messages and in the heart that you have and in every conversation I've ever had with you. And so we're going to point to the second way that living your mission at work and life has brought you joy. And I've heard you say there's joy in pointing others to God. There's joy in the way you live your faith. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, Terrie? What does that look like for you?
That goes very deep with me. I feel his presence. I feel his nudgings. I feel his helping me make decisions. It just humbles me. It's very humbling how I feel that God works through my hands. And it gets emotional. And so I don't know if that's tangible, but that's how I serve God. He serves through me, and we're a team that way. Golly, it's wonderful.
It's wonderful. It is. And it's wonderful to watch, Terrie, as I think about some people in their journeys. Some folks go to work Monday through Friday, and then they go to church on Sunday, or maybe they go to work Monday through Friday, they go to church Wednesday nights, or volunteer in their communities and do service on Saturdays or on the weekend. But what I've seen different about you and where I think you're finding joy is that there isn't a separation between church and work. You are who you are every day, whether you're going to church on Sunday or whether you're cooking something or designing something or creating something masterful in the kitchen. You're the same person and you're living out that faith. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, you always get me with God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a package deal. I sometimes have to zip it, but most of the time I just let it flow and I share and I hug. It's true joy. And I get giddy sometimes.
I've seen you giddy. I've seen you giddy. Well, and I think that's going to tie into the third one. So for those who've just joined us, we're talking with Chef Terrie Kohl of Country Club Market about 5 ways that living your mission at work and in life has brought joy. And I've seen it in my own eyes and in the interactions that I've had with Terrie. And I know there are countless others who've had this as well, who've been able to watch her do this. But her first point was that there is just joy in serving others. And her second point was that there was joy in bringing others to God, to living out her faith. There's that joy in not having to separate the weekend person from the work week person. They're the same person. You get what you get with Terrie, and what a freeing joy that is. So now we're going to move on to 3, and we hinted at it earlier, but now I want to go deep and have some conversation here. But I know for you, Terrie, there is joy in bringing people together. Give me some experiences. Maybe these last few months have been hard. Maybe the last couple of years have shifted things just a little bit with the pandemic, but give us some stories. Share some examples of how bringing people together has brought them joy, has brought you joy. Can you share some stories?
I have many stories, Sinikka. The joy of bringing people together, be it people that don't know one another, they find similarities that are amazing. They may have lived in the same neighborhood, worked for the same people, have the same friends, grew up in the same small town. It's amazing how time together will open these doors. And even when I cater This weekend I did a baptism. So we shared a brunch with two sisters that were baptized. So it's bringing family together to celebrate. So the meetings, the times, the functions, the time spent together is a joy for me to see and be a part of in their memories, even.
Yeah. Well, for sure. And I've seen you in photos where people are posting their special memories of their event. And there's Chef Terrie just beaming, delighting in that chance to be together with them in that moment of celebration. So let's think about some of the different aspects of the work that you do. I know that one of the things you do is a personal chef, and thinking about how that would bring people around the table. My instinct would go, well, I would love that as a consumer, as a customer of your services, because instead of standing in the kitchen and doing all of the things that need to be done in preparation, I could be connecting with my family or the visitors, whoever happen to be around the table. So that's one way where you're doing an act of service, allowing others to be together. How does that go? I know you're a personal chef. Have I imagined that, or what does that look like?
Again, with my mission as Country Club Markets design, it's to adapt to whatever the people want to present the event. Be it a private chef, I can cook for them, they can watch, they can participate, I can grill for them, I can do buffet, I can do plated, I can do family style, which I highly encourage because it encourages conversation when you're passing the food, when you're breaking the bread, when you're communing with friends or co-workers, or just enjoying time set aside to be together. And that's where I really shine, I think.
For sure. So we've talked about some of the ways that living your mission at work and life has brought you joy. Let's move on to the fourth one. There is joy in the work that you do. So there's joy in the work that you do. Okay. I don't know anyone who has more fun at work than you do. Terrie, tell us this morning, what time did you get out of bed?
Oh, Sinikka, you do know me well. There are mornings where I wake up. I mean, I think we all think about work in bed, it's sleep or awake, but mine is so exciting that I get to get up, get in the kitchen, and start cooking or writing menus or preparing grocery lists or what have you, in any sense of being a chef. And so this morning it was 3:00 and I'm excited to write my Thanksgiving promotion that's coming up. So it's just research and juices flowing and being prepared for others so they can have time with their loved ones.
That's so beautiful. So I want to stop here and just let our listeners savor this for just a moment. And if you're listening and you're thinking about your workday, perhaps you're listening to this in the morning on your way to work, or you're listening to the podcast as you're going through your morning routine and you're thinking about your workday. I challenge you to consider whether your workday caused you to bound out of bed with this unbridled enthusiasm and this big old grin that says, I get to do what I was created to do today. I get to find joy in my workday today because I'm living my mission. And I don't know that means that we all, I don't know that we all are blessed to find it in such a way that we all find exactly the vocation that brings out our skills. But I think the ability to live our mission, I think the ability to be the person that we were called to be. Maybe you are a singer and God gifted you with a voice and you can use that voice, but you haven't found the particular way to use that in your insurance company on, Tuesday mornings. I don't think that makes it any less joy-filled. I think if I'm hearing Terrie right, what I'm seeing her do is I'm watching her, whether it's making a grocery list. And I would guess that, Terrie, when you wake up in the morning, you don't think to yourself, God created me to make a grocery list. right? That maybe not the most glorious thing, or creating a promotional campaign that goes on the website. I mean, you create in the kitchen. That is where your joy comes in. But because you're living your mission, because you are fully just all in to the work that you're doing, any portion of the work still brings you joy. You still bound out of bed for all of it. And I don't want us to miss that. I wish that so many of us could soak that up and just hang out with you more, because I think we have so much to learn from that. Terrie, let me ask you, how does that work on the tough days? Have you faced a day when the work wasn't all that exciting or wasn't all that fun, or maybe a difficult customer or a difficult thing that you hadn't done, or a technology problem that was a hurdle of some sort? What happens on the tough days? Do you still have joy?
I'm going to say there's always joy. And for me, my work is not predictable, if I may say. I could have 2 events one day, one the next, and then nothing the next week. So for those 3 days, power working, super stressed, organizing, multitasking. So that 3rd day is exhaustion. It's tired, it's sleeping, it's rejuvenating the enthusiasm and joy that is there. It's just been a little bit, I don't want to say abused or overworked, but extended. How about extended?
For sure. And there's still joy. It's just you need to rest, right?
Yes. And we all need that. So that's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all. All right. So we are here with Chef Terrie Kohl. We're talking about 5 ways that living your mission at work and life has brought joy. And the first one is there's joy in serving others. The second one was that there's joy in pointing others to God and in living out her faith. The third one is there's joy in bringing people together. And the fourth was there's joy in the work that she does. So finding joy even in making a grocery list or making a plan or washing dishes. I've seen you smile while washing dishes, Terrie. So even in the things that aren't the natural, the creative part that you love so much, there's still so much enthusiasm because you know you've got that alignment between your mission and the work that you do. So now let's talk about this last one. There's joy in relationships. Oh, Terrie, there is so much joy in relationships. Let's talk about some of these stories. What's one of the longest relationships that you've had in this catering world? Someone that you met perhaps early on in your career that you're still in relationship with, someone that you still know and still talk to today. Let's talk about how long do relationships last in this kind of field or industry?
I have to tell you, I love that question. I love that question so much, because I have clients who have hired me for multiple family events, to the point where I feel like a member of the family. Mm-hmm. I may get their garage password or to get in, and to start setting up, or they feel free enough to let me create the menu. And that's when I do my best work, when I get real giddy and get to really do some delicious food, which I do all the time. But then I really get to put myself on a plate and present to them. And yeah, there's multiple families that over the course of the years that I've done Thanksgiving, I've done one family, their son got married, and I took the groomsmen breakfast, and then I took the bridal girls. They were at a house having their hair and makeup done, and so I delivered their breakfast to them to make sure that they all had food in their tummies for the day ahead. And it's remarkable how much a part of people's lives I'm honored and blessed to be involved in.
Absolutely. Well, and I think about your relationships extend not just to your family clients, but also to those who are part of, in the business networks and hosting events for their organization. And you rub elbows with famous people all the time with those sorts of events, and whether they attend the event. But you've probably also got relationships with other vendor suppliers, food suppliers and grocers. And I can't imagine what it must be like for you to be able to just know that part of what you're doing, yes, you're creating a recipe, but part of what you're doing is building relationship with the various people around you.
Exactly, exactly. I have to pinch myself because of God's glory. And to be truthful, I've taken risks. I think part of those risks are with the forethought that I didn't want to look back and wish I had.
Mm.
And so I did take those risks. And, you think, what have I got to lose? And so with that, it's like abandonment, just, go for it. I do need to tell you something that's on the horizon, if I may.
Sure.
Just real quick, like I have been visiting with the Des Moines Fire Department. And we're working on a collaboration to have firehouse competitions within the city and a lottery with citizens to vote and ultimately a cookbook fundraiser. And it's just these things I'm positioned to be an implementation of that like blow my mind. It's just like, boom.
Well, sure. And it's because of those relationships that you get to build with the people around you and the people in your community, the people that you serve, the people who help you serve others. It's super cool. And there is joy in that. I know when I see you talk about friends and when I see you talk about ways that you've been able to serve others, I watch you, you stand a little taller, you light up because there is so much joy in those relationships. The work that you do is not just food. It is building others up, and it is connecting with others and connecting them to each other.
That empowerment, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
How about
empowering.
let's talk on the empowering idea a little bit about, because you also teach classes sometimes, or you did pre-COVID. Are you back to doing those again where you teach people?
Starting back, yes, I'm excited.
Yay. Okay. So how does that go? What happens? Do all the people who come to your classes, do they all know each other? They show up in your kitchen and then they're all magically great cooks? Or maybe they showed up already knowing great things about how to cook. Terrie, how does that go?
Oh boy. Yes. Teaching the cooking classes is so fulfilling to me because people come to be together. So for instance, it's a dinner club, it's a book club. It could be, I've had financial institutions who bring their preferred clients to dinner, and it's personable, it's quiet, they bring their own wine, but they're ultimately know they're going to eat. But what I do is I create an experience. And so I teach the recipes, I give the reasons why. I cook, they taste it, they drink. I cook it, they taste it, I drink. I mean, they drink. No. But it's demystifying and it's empowering, and I give options that it doesn't have to be that particular way. And so that's a real joy to me, to empower them to go home. And again, they've been brought around the table, and hopefully they can in turn bring their family and friends back around the table, and so on and so on.
Absolutely. I thought about that because as I looked back through your list of these 5 ways that living your mission brings you joy. I mean, man, you hit all of them in that. There's joy in serving others and you're serving them food. There's joy in pointing others to God and living out your faith. And I have no doubt that every conversation that you have just talks about the love of the Lord and the way He's moved in your life. There's joy in bringing people together, and you're doing that, right? You're bringing them together in this class. There's joy in the work that you do. You thoughtfully put together recipes to help them and take them through. And I know you have joy in creating that. And then there's joy in relationships. So you're creating a relationship with them and they are deepening their relationship with each other. It hits all of them. What I imagine that is lots of fun for you.
It is. And yeah, and to see that being received is deeply appreciated and warms my heart when they get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, what fun this has been. So as our listeners are listening, we have been here visiting with Chef Terrie Kohl. I have known Terrie for many years. We worked together early on in a stage of her business development, her business plan. And we spent some time on a strategic retreat together and spent some time month after month after month after month having coffees together and planning and working on things together. And you moved to another stage and continued to grow and continue to do amazing things. And I am so inspired, Terrie, by the way you live your mission in what you do. And I thank you for making time for this podcast, because I really wanted others to hear the joy that comes when the who you are as a person and who you were created and designed to be gets to show up at work every single day. You do that so beautifully, Terrie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that we're from the same cloth. We like and do the same things for others.
I think you're right. So this is the Even Better podcast. And as we think about that, there's a question that I was asked towards the end here, which is, what's making you even better these days?
What is making me better? Every morning I wake up, it's a new day. And how can I work more effectively? Reach out and communicate more effectively. People don't understand food necessarily, the process. And I mean not to be overwhelming, but I want them to be able to direct me to fulfill their vision. So it's another day, another opportunity to reach out to people and create these visions for their loved ones, their coworkers, their clients, their what have you. So that's me. That's just me. You get me. And if that's not enough, then I published a cookbook.
Well, and you published a cookbook, which is so fun. Okay, let's just pause on that for a second. How fun is that to see your own words and your own recipes and your mom's recipes and your grandma's recipes in there as well?
Yes.
Oh, how fun is that to see that in print and being handed around and exchanged and given as gifts? And what does that do for you, Terrie? That's got to be amazing.
I wish it for everyone. I wish it for everyone. If you have any thoughts about, I wish this, I wish that, do it. It's just so worthwhile and so meaningful when you commit to that process. And you see, I have to say, each time they presented it to me, I bawled, I cried. I'm like, oh, is this real? Is it really happening? And when it came to fruition, and yes, how proud I am that I did it. And you can too. Whatever your heart's desire, please do. Don't look back and wish you had.
Thank you, Terrie. Well, our time is just about up for today, and I am so grateful to Terrie Kohl of Country Club Market. Terrie, if someone wants to reach you or learn more about you, they can go to your website, right? And your website is
www.countryclubmkt.com.
countryclubmkt.com, short for Country Club Market. So they can go and they can find you there. Are you out on Facebook and LinkedIn and social media? Any place else that they should go to find you?
LinkedIn, yes. And Facebook, yes.
Okay.
And email is Terrie, Terrie, at countryclubmkt.com, which is actually the best way to communicate, because sometimes my hours are early or late, and it's just easier to click, rather than by phone, but email, and then set up phone messages thereafter.
Fantastic. Thank you, Terrie. So this has been just a treat to listen to Terrie Kohl share her stories on 5 ways that living her mission at work and life has brought joy. And I hope that it has brought joy to our listeners. I know that just spending time with Terrie always brings me joy. So I have been enjoying this. I hope that our listeners have been as well. And I want to thank you for Terrie. Thank you for being here. And to our listeners, thank you for being here. And on behalf of all of us here at Your Clear Next Step, we hope the rest of your day is even better.
Thank you for tuning in today. The Even Better podcast will be back with more content soon. But in the meantime, subscribe to our podcast or check out our website at yourclearnextstep.com for more information. See you next episode.